Greetings in the risen Lord, everyone. Bishop Daniel Thomas here with you to support and pray for the spiritual, pastoral, and financial success of Annunciation Radio's Spring Sharathon. Lord Jesus, teach us to be generous. Teach us to serve you as you deserve, to give and not to count the cost, to fight and not to heed the wounds, to labor and not to seek to rest, to give of ourselves and not ask for a reward, except the reward of knowing that we are doing your will. We ask all this through the intercession of Mary, our mother, as together, dear friends, we pray the Memorare. Remember, O most gracious Virgin Mary, that never was it known that anyone who fled to your protection, implored your assistance, or sought your intercession was left unaided. Inspired by this confidence, we fly unto you, O Virgin of Virgins, our Mother. To you do we come. Before you we stand, sinful and sorrowful. O Mother of the Word incarnate, despise not our petitions, but in your clemency hear and answer us. Amen. God bless you, everyone.
This is Sharathon Week. Please call in your pledge right now. 419-868-2966. That's 419-868-2966. And now, here's our Annunciation Radio Sharathon host, Debbie Georgianni.
Wow, to be able to pray the chaplet together on the radio, to have the broadcast of the Mass, and then Sister Ann Shields. Oh, what an amazing 3 o'clock hour, the Power Hour. Jesus, we trust in you. I am Debbie Georgianni, co-host of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, also co-host of The Spirit World, heard right here on Annunciation Radio on Saturdays, with the one, the only, Ron Finn. Ron, you're doing everything. You're hosting, you're on the boards.
Not only that, I'm the main person for donut consumption, and so this is. I'm glad this is only a 4-day event for me.
That's hilarious. Okay, so we have we're going to be talking with a very important subject, a very important guest, and this hour. Because
Debbie, this is the hour. This is the time when Say Yes to Life is on.
Yep.
And Peter Range. We're elbowing our way into his half-hour slot, but he's gracious enough to be with us on the phone, so we'll be chatting with him in a few minutes.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to let our listeners know that you need to listen to Peter and you need to pledge at the same time. You have to multitask. We really need to pick up the pace. We've got to finish strong. We've got a great day going. Please, would you help us? We've got a few folks to thank, like Bill and Annette. Thank you so very, very much in honor of Bishop Thomas and Father Scott Woods. That's the way to do it. Thank you, Bill and Annette. Also, Tim and Jane, thank you. Okay, you guys did great. Now we need to clear the screens because we have a 30-minute match, dollar for dollar, 30 minutes, dollar for dollar, unlimited, Ron, unlimited. You can go as high as you possibly can go. If you want to pledge $3,000, it will be $6,000 right now, but we are going to race against the clock. Now it's 28 minutes, now 27 minutes. We got to hurry. Okay, folks, please call in. We have what we call a flash match of 30 minutes. These donors will go see how high you can go, and they will match it. 419-868-2966 or AnnunciationRadio.com or the Annunciation Radio app. You get in on the drawing for the EWTN pilgrimage. Also at the apostle level, that will be matched dollar for dollar. And then you'll get in on that bus tour and pilgrimage to Canton, Ohio. Very, very exciting. Folks, we've got to pick up the pace now because we are down under 2 hours. This day ends. It'll be in the books, and we go into the final day of the Sharathon 2023. Who's going to help us? Dollar for dollar match. Your 200 becomes 400. Your 500 becomes 1,000. Your 1,000 becomes 2,000. Please, folks, stop what you're doing. Clear the channels. Get focused and make your pledge. 419-868-2966. Okay, Ron, we don't want, we don't want to make our listeners wait any longer. We're crashing into this beautiful show hour, so we definitely want to bring Peter on with us.
Yeah, and Bishop's Corner coming up at its usual time at 4:30, so hang in there for that. But in the meantime, keep those phones ringing. Get them going here, because that dollar-for-dollar match, that is awesome, Debbie. I love the fact that we can match everyone's donation no matter what the amount. Dollar for dollar. What an incredible opportunity. Make the phone call. 419-868-2966 is the phone number to call. As Debbie said, you're going to get in on those drawings. And if you're at the Apostle level, we've already got a seat reserved for you on the bus to Canton. So a lot of great opportunities. And, of course, the main reason, you want to evangelize. You want to be able to reach people where they are with Catholic radio. And that's what Annunciation Radio's apostolate is all about. And you are that apostolate. We're just here to make sure that the switches are switched and the buttons are pressed. You're the one that keeps the lights on, keeps the signal going, keeps the transmitters on, and make sure that Catholic radio is available here and there, everywhere.
Yes, absolutely. Well, dollar for dollar match. We have to pick up the pace, folks. If you're driving, we have a lot of folks in their cars listening right now. This is considered drive time, so a lot of people are in their cars. Please, if you can pull over safely to the side of the road. This is a dollar for dollar unlimited match. This is where we can really pick up some ground here and make up some ground and get back on track. This is very exciting. This is a great opportunity, but only a short amount of time. We're down to 24 minutes. Please help us. Do whatever you can. $100, that's great. $200, that's great. $1,000, that's great. $5,000, it will be matched to $10,000. 419-868-2966. Okay, we're ready for Peter?
Peter is ready to roll.
I'm excited. You want to introduce him?
Well, Peter Range, everybody knows Peter Range. So that's his introduction. No, he's a CEO of Ohio Right to Life, and of course, heard here each and every Thursday and Sunday on Say Yes to Life, which is now also heard in Cincinnati and Cleveland. Anywhere else, Pete? Am I missing any place? Did you go like to New York yet?
Not yet, Ron, but they're on the list because New York City, New York State, they certainly need the pro-life message. But hey, guys, why don't we take this 25 minutes that we have with our show and dedicate the donations that people are going to send in to the preborn children who are in danger of being slaughtered through abortion. So let's dedicate this 25 minutes to the preborn. People can make a donation on the preborn's behalf, because really the reason I do Say Yes to Life is to build this culture of life. It's to abolish abortion, restore the culture. I can't do that without financial support of people calling into the Sharathons with this during these Sharathon hours. So please take this next 25 minutes. Consider a gift on behalf of the preborn to help us out. And if I could, let's start with a word of prayer, too. Let's go to the Word of God to ask for His blessing, His grace on these 25 minutes. It's a verse that maybe a lot of people aren't familiar with. Let's start in the book of Wisdom, asking God's grace on these 25 minutes. It's from Wisdom, chapter 7, but it reads this. It says, I also am mortal like everyone else, a descendant of the firstborn child of the earth. And in the womb of a mother I was molded into flesh. Within the period of 10 months, compacted with blood, from the seed of a man and the pleasure of marriage. And when I was born, I began to breathe the common air and fell upon the kindred earth. My first sound was a cry, as is true of all. I was nursed with care when swaddling clothes, for no king has had a different beginning of existence. For all, there is one entrance into life and one way out. We are here. We are miracles. We all took the same entrance into earth. Our first home was the womb of our mother. So let's dedicate these next 25 minutes for the blessing of our moms and for the preborn in danger of abortion. Let's give for them so we can build the culture of life here in Northwest Ohio and across the state.
Wow. That was beautiful, Peter. We do have this dollar for dollar match. We so agree with you. Let's really dedicate this and, let's go big. Let's go really big. Let's stretch, because it's a dollar for dollar match at 419-868-2966. I so love the way you said it so passionately, to abolish abortion. So Peter, let me start with there. Let me start there, because this is very important. I'm hearing a lot of stations are sharing what's going on with the initiative that's possibly coming up this fall. Tell us what we need to know. Tell us what we need to pray for. Tell us what we need to do.
Well, thank you so much, Debbie, for the question. Really appreciate it. To put this a little bit in context, after the Dobbs decision this past summer, when Roe v. Wade, praise God, was sent to the ash heaps of history, the question of abortion was returned to the states. Now, this is more than just a states' rights issue. This is a human rights issue. I mean, Ohio shouldn't have determined that the preborn child has a right to life, and then Kentucky not determined that they do. But with that being said, we have a unique opportunity here in the state of Ohio to fight for life. Now, unfortunately, the left and progressive forces in this country were very ready for the fall of Roe v. Wade, and they got right to work with these ballot initiatives going state by state, California, Michigan, New Hampshire, trying to legalize abortion through all 9 months of pregnancy. Now, they were successful in those 3 states, but now they're bringing this ballot initiative to legalize painful late-term abortion all the way through the 9th month of pregnancy here to a red state, a state which is typically conservative, which is pro-life, which passed a heartbeat bill to protect preborn children with a beating heartbeat. But now they're trying to come into our state, these outside special interests, and allow abortion on demand through all 9 months of pregnancy. But not only that, Debbie, they're crafted this language. These individuals are very smart, the ACLU and Planned Parenthood and their lawyers. They've written this language such that it would eliminate parental rights. Oh. So if you have a 14 or 15 or 16-year-old daughter who's maybe in a very difficult situation, she finds herself pregnant, not sure what to do, she would be able to go and procure an abortion without her parents' consent. Not only that, but the way this language is written, say your young teenage son or daughter could be struggling with some gender dysphoria. They would be able to go and get cross-sex hormones, again, without parental consent, the way that this language is structured. In the document, it doesn't even use the term women or mother at all. It says an individual has a right to reproductive freedom, but they're not limited to the rights that they enumerate, including the right to abortion, as it says in the document. So this is the scariest, the most dangerous thing that we have faced here in the state of Ohio. We need everybody to be engaged in the fight and the battle. So I want to invite individuals to go to our website, our new 501c4 that we've created to fight back against this. It's called ProtectWomenOhio.com. On the website, you can find out information about the amendment and flyers and things of that nature you can share with your family, friends, and neighbors. Secondly, we want to invite people after they go to the website to pray with us every single day. Pray with us in the spirit of 2 Chronicles 7:14. So 7:14 a.m. and 7:14 p.m. Of course, if you're familiar with 2 Chronicles 7:14, we know that if my people who are called by my name humble themselves, pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land. We're not going to win this without the people of God falling to their knees in prayers to fight this. So ProtectWomenOhio.com. Join us daily in prayer. And then 3, a real practical thing that you can do at the parish level at your churches is make sure that your family, your friends, your fellow churchgoers are all registered to vote. So you can go on the Secretary of State website, make sure your registration is up to date. You've got to get registered to vote and make sure your family and friends are. There's so many Christians and so many Catholics that are not registered. They don't vote in these decisions. And if we don't go out en masse to vote this November against this amendment, it's going to be abortion on demand through all 9 months of pregnancy, and it's going to be the elimination of parental rights and the elimination of health and safety standards for women who are even seeking abortion. So we don't want that here in the state of Ohio, but we have to get out there. We have to inform ourselves, ProtectWomenOhio.com, pray with us every day, and make sure that you are registered to vote.
So, Peter, with this language that's in there, this misleading and, crafty, however they decided to do it, because everybody can spin everything these days, to make it seem like it's something that it's not. Are people confused? Are they onto it? Do they realize they're trying to slip this in through Ohio?
The unfortunate reality is that the media, the more progressive elite media here in the state of Ohio, is kind of playing fullback for Planned Parenthood and ACLU. They refuse to ask them the difficult questions, whether or not they support parental rights or not. Now, we already know. It's very clear that the legal record is clear that they are against parental rights. So Planned Parenthood in Pink versus Indiana and Planned Parenthood versus Alaska argued in court that they believe that parental consent is a burden to individuals exercising their reproductive freedom. So teenagers trying to exercise their quote-unquote reproductive freedom, that it's a burden to get their parents' consent. If you go to Planned Parenthood's own website, it tells you how to get a judicial bypass if your state has parental consent laws. So we know that they are after parental rights, but the media refuses to ask Planned Parenthood and the ACLU if parental rights would be affected in this amendment or not. Secondly, they have a whole group, a whole army of individuals that are going around the state of Ohio right now collecting signatures to get this on the November ballot. Unfortunately, we think they're going to get there, quite frankly, because they're lying to the individuals coming up to sign these signatures.
That's right.
For example, we have an individual on camera who said all this amendment does is take the right, quote-unquote, right to abortion from 6-week standard to a 12-week standard. First of all, there's nothing about 12 weeks in the amendment itself. Second of all, we know that through the language, the way that it's written, it uses the term health. So it says that the treating physician can allow the woman to get an abortion based upon her health. Now, in Doe v. Bolton, which was Roe's companion case, the court defined health to be any factor. That's emotional, psychological, familial, the woman's age that she could cite for the need to have an abortion. So that legalizes abortion in the 7th, 8th, or even 9th month of pregnancy here in the state of Ohio if this passes. So unfortunately, there's a lot of Catholics and Christians who are signing this petition right now because they're being told, hey, do you support women's rights? And they're saying, well, yeah, I do. I support women's health or women's rights, whatever it may be. And they're signing to get this on the ballot. So we have to get out and inform the people in the state of Ohio today about the dangers of this amendment. And that's why Say Yes to Life is so important. It's why we need you to donate to Annunciation Radio during this 25 minutes in dedication to the preborn so that the message can continue to get out to the state of Ohio through Catholic radio. And it's not going to happen without your financial gifts today.
Ron, what do you think about what's happening? Because you're in the day-to-day at the station. I mean, I've heard this from other stations throughout Ohio, and they're very concerned. And we've got to be. I agree, Peter. We've got to get involved, and I think we need to pray for you and your team because I can hear it in your voice. It sounds like you're trying as fast and as hard as you can to get this so people can understand what they're potentially signing. I mean, this is dangerous.
It's incredibly dangerous. And yeah, Peter, you're so right. Shows like Say Yes to Life and other shows on Catholic radio and here on Annunciation Radio are key in getting that message out because, as you say, people are mindlessly signing these things, thinking it's one thing, not being educated and informed about what it really is, what they're really putting their signature on. So thank God for what you do. And, of course, everybody who calls in their pledges, that's why they do that, to support efforts like this, to spread the word, to spread the gospel message far and wide. Debbie, I want to thank Michelle and Jeffrey for calling in at the angel level.
Thank you, Michelle and Jeffrey. $1 for $1 match, right? Yes, so that became $200, Michelle and Jeffrey. Thank you so much. Now, who's going to follow Michelle and Jeffrey? Let's go for the preborn. Let's do this. Let's show up strong for the next 13 minutes. Please help us. It's $1 for $1 match. 419-868-2966. And yes, you can go online to AnnunciationRadio.com or the Annunciation Radio app. Peter, what are you seeing in the day-to-day? I mean, there go the calls. Thank you. $1 for $1. Let's do it for the preborn. Come on, you guys. Let's show up strong. Okay. All of heaven is watching right now. Peter, day to day, what are you seeing? Are people waking up? I hear conflicting, all these different stories, from various radio professionals around, the country. Some say, people are starting to wake up. They're seeing what's going on. Others are saying, no, they're still on autopilot. What are you seeing?
Without a doubt, as I've been traveling the state, I'm actually traveling right now. I'm down in Columbus, Ohio, to give a presentation. People are waking up to the reality of what the left is after. It's not only the death of the preborn, which is incredibly unfortunate. It's incredibly sad. I mean, we're not going to have a nation moving forward if we continue to kill the next generation. I mean, it's basic numbers. And even secular thinkers like Elon Musk and others are waking up to the reality that we are simply not having enough children as a nation. And so much of this comes from a kind of a contraceptive mindset that, when two people come together and they make love, that the child is an accident or it shouldn't have happened in these situations, when in actuality, when two people come together and make love, a child is the greatest gift you can receive from that act of love. But unfortunately, that's the world we're living in today, where people are no longer thinking about children as a gift, but rather as an accident or an intruder to their own hedonistic pleasures at the end of the day. But right. When I'm out there talking to people around the state of Ohio, it is incredibly striking for people to hear and understand that the attack on parental rights in particular, even if you identify as someone who is maybe more liberal or progressive, you believe that you should have a say in what your teenage daughter or teenage son is engaged in, involved in. So I think as people wake up to the reality of what the left is ultimately after, I mean, we've seen at the highest levels of government, guys, in the past couple weeks, where at the highest levels of government, we've had government officials talking about, our nation's children are all of our children. Our children belong to all of us in our communities. Well, not my kids. My kids are my children. So I'm fighting this not as CEO of Ohio Right to Life or, someone who's a leader in the pro-life movement. I'm fighting this as a dad. I've got 4 kids, and I don't want them to grow up in a culture where, say in a couple of years they might be confused a little bit concerning their gender, whatever it may be in this culture, and then a teacher or a parent who, again, in this amendment, it says that they are provided immunity, someone who assists in helping someone practice their reproductive right in any of these areas are also, they would be held not liable for that. So you can have a soccer coach, right, who has a 16-year-old on the soccer team that's struggling with, again, gender dysphoria, and they take them to a Planned Parenthood and say, here you go, you can get some cross-sex hormones, and that will help you transition to feel like, quote-unquote, your real self. They could do that under this amendment. They could be held not liable for any problems whatsoever. So we have to wake up to that reality. I mean, right now, down in Cincinnati Public Schools just announced recently that they are looking at holding parents liable, right, if their child wants to identify or is coming out as, having same-sex attraction, things of that nature, and it could be considered child abuse if the parents aren't supportive of these things. I mean, the way our culture is going, we have to wake up, and thankfully I think the Christian faithful are waking up to the reality of these dangers of individuals who are saying that, all our children belong to everybody. That's not the case. God gave us, first and foremost, the nuclear family, a mother and a father, to take care of the children that they help create. And if we lose that ability to take care and to raise our kids in the values that we hold so dear in our culture and society, that's going to directly attack our religious freedom. It's going to directly attack our kids. We cannot stand for it here in the state of Ohio. So people need to get informed. ProtectWomenOhio.com. And, one of the things that I want people to understand, too, moving forward, is that we're trying to stop this on multiple different levels. So there is another coalition that has gathered, which is going to impact this November vote. And that is the coalition which is attempting to make sure that our Constitution is protected. So right now, to get one of these ballot initiatives passed in the state of Ohio, all you need is 50% of the public plus one to change our Constitution. So coming down the road here is not only issues about abortion, but there's transgender issues. There is legalized marijuana that's going to be pushed upon the people of the state of Ohio, changing our Constitution. Casinos are already existing in the state of Ohio because they got over 50% of the vote. We want to make sure that it's at least 60% of Ohioans that agree before we change our Constitution. So I invite people also to consider registering to vote so that they can vote in the upcoming August election as well to protect our Constitution. Make sure the threshold is at 60% rather than 50%. That obviously is going to impact the tip of the spear abortion issue, which is coming up in November, but that's going to protect Ohioans moving forward without a doubt. So much to get informed on. People can learn more at ohiolife.org or, again, protectwomenohio.com on these particular issues. But, Debbie, the people of Ohio, when they learn about this amendment, they learn about the dangers of it, they get fired up. I can see it in their eyes. They're putting their money where their mouth is. They're donating. They're asking how they can volunteer. They want to go door to door, and we're going to need that. We're going to need an army of people because we're facing millions of dollars of dark money that's going to pour into the state of Ohio. $60 million was raised in the state of Michigan to pass their Proposition 3 up there. That came from the likes of George Soros and Michael Bloomberg and Steven Spielberg, individuals of that ilk that poured in millions of dollars into the state of Michigan to pass Proposition 3. We can't let that happen here in Ohio, but it's not going to happen without the generosity of the people of Ohio supporting Catholic radio right now, right here for preborn, and then also supporting this cause at protectwomenohio.com.
So, Peter, let me ask you this question, because we always are giving our listeners, when we're doing share-a-thons, reasons to give, of why they should give. You just shared in depth what's going on, what we need to know, what we must do, how we should get involved, what we should be reviewing and looking at and really understanding in a better way. I don't know, maybe you have, Peter, have the local media, the secular media, have they asked to have an in-depth interview with you?
Yeah, Debbie, they have, but unfortunately, this is what happens. They tend to not report what we're talking about. And we've been very disciplined when it comes to our talking points. But, Debbie, we had just for one example, we had a major metropolitan newspaper here in the state of Ohio report on our story. They reported inaccurately on kind of what was going on. So we very politely gave a phone call to the reporter and said, excuse me, this is incorrect. And these are the documents to back it up. So we would just simply ask that you would change not only the headline, but the bulk of the story, because it was incorrect. She began yelling at us, calling us crazy Christians who just want to control women and so on and so forth. Completely unprofessional. I mean, whether you're conservative or liberal, if you're supposed to be an unbiased reporter, you don't yell at somebody calling them crazy Christians or crazy Muslims or crazy Jewish people, whatever it might be, right? So we called her editor. She issued an apology, but she is still reporting on the beat. She's still reporting on the story. So we're not getting a fair shake in the media. In fact, Big Tech has labeled us a dark money organization. So the left, who created a 501c4, they're a group of grassroots activists fighting for reproductive freedom. But the pro-life side of Protect Women Ohio, we're a dark money organization. That's what they've labeled us. So we're not going to get the information out there through Big Tech or the normal media. We need Catholic radio. That's why you need to give to Catholic radio today, right now, to support the cause. These are the only avenues we're going to have. It's from the pulpit to the mic that you guys are sitting at right now that we have to get the information out there, and we can't do that without your financial support.
Precisely, Peter, and that's why we're working so hard to raise the necessary funds. It's a responsible thing to do. We must do it. We have to keep Catholic radio going strong. You heard it from Peter Range. Please, folks, this is a dollar for dollar match. We can't make it any more attractive for you to come in and be a supporting role of Annunciation Radio. Please just step up like Marilyn just did. Way to go, Marilyn, online, coming in strong with your pledge. That was matched, Marilyn. Thank you so very much. Now, who is going to follow Marilyn? It's a dollar for dollar match this hour. And then we go into the final hour of day. Wow, it's day 3 already, so we only got one more day. That's it to raise the funds for the Spring Sharathon 2023. Folks, if you're listening right now, you're listening to Peter Range. He's telling the truth, the absolute truth, the honest truth. We need to get the truth out there. We can do that because we have Catholic radio right now. Let's keep it going strong. Please make your best pledge. We need 2 fine folks to step up at the apostle level. Okay, you'll get the Canton trip, the bus trip, plus you'll get into the drawing. We need 2 folks at the apostle level. It's all matched dollar for dollar. That's $100 a month. Ron, I know we're running out of time with Peter, because we go right into our next program, but anything you wanted to share, Ron?
Just thank you, Peter, for all your great work, and keep those phone calls coming in. Bishop's Corner getting ready to start. We love listening to the Bishop, and of course the Bishop is a big supporter of Annunciation Radio, so we ask that you support us as well. The dollar for dollar match continues. Make that phone call if you would, please, 419-868-2966, and say yes to life. Be back at its usual time next Thursday. So again, 419-868-2966.
Thank you, Peter.
Dollar for dollar, Debbie.
Yes. Thank you, Peter, so much. Keep up the great work.